Player agency is a complete and total myth. What do I mean by that? Is that all the definitions, all the theoretical talk online, and all the different conversations that jackasses like me like to have, the bottom line is there is one true definition of player agency. That definition is if your players at your table feel like their actions don't matter. So here's the thing. If your players feel like their actions don't matter, the reality has no bearing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're like explaining to them they do. If they feel like they don't, their player agency has been removed. And that's really all that matters. Some players are more susceptible to this than other players. Your table is different. But the bottom line is how they feel is what makes a difference. And the example that I can use is this. Mass Effect 3. If you play the game once, and only once, it is an amazing game with an amazing ending, and it feels like your actions and what you did make a difference. If you play it twice and choose different actions, you'll realize real fast that nothing you do has any bearing on that game in any way, shape, or form. And so that's the illusion of choice. And that's what we talk about a lot of times, is that as long as my players feel like the choices they're making make a difference, they're crafting their own path and they're heading down their own, even when you're on rails, that's what makes a difference. In the game, there's one specific thing that shows up more often than not that shows us how the players feel. If I am trying to do something and the Dungeon Master telegraphs if I go down path A, this will happen, and I'm like, let's not have that happen, so we choose a different path. And I'm saying path figuratively, but we choose a different way. And the same thing happens, as a player, I feel like what I'm doing doesn't make a difference. That's what player agency really is. When I feel like my actions don't matter and the game just goes on without me, that's when player agency is removed. Now, there's different degrees of this. There's varying, how it impacts. There's the finite of combat, of, paths, of quests, we can talk about all that. But it's still the same concept. The feeling that my actions don't make a difference. Or I don't have a choice. That's really, and it's a feeling. And every table's different. There are different degrees of this, and there's different things that can happen on the table that let players see this. But if a player never knows that they never had a choice, but they feel like they did, then they still have agency on that table because they're still having fun. Because in the end, if your table's having fun, none of the theoretical stuff online and the jackasses like me having the debate makes a difference. So as a new Dungeon Master, if you stuck around for the full 3 minutes, remember, if your table's having fun, it's the only thing that matters. If they're not, dig in. Ask for advice. Figure out how to change that.